Okay, welcome. We are still on introduction to analysis with Alan, and today we'll be trying to discuss some theoretical ideas on conditional expressions in R. So, as usual, I'll take you through some theories on how to go about step-by-step procedures, and then we'll switch on to R console or studio to see how we can implement such conditions using R. So this video presents you some step-by-step procedures on how to make some conditional expression or conditional statements using R. Now these procedures are used because sometimes we need to restrict our analysis given some conditions. Now in such situations, we find that the use of some mathematical expressions or conditions becomes necessary. We have logic operators and some expression like the if and if else and the switch statements, which are stated on the next slides. So when such conditions are executed, the condition can either be true or can either be false. So if the condition is true, then the statement will be executed, and if the condition is false, then the first statement will not be executed, meaning that the if statement will be terminated. Now, here are just some of the conditional expressions that are commonly used, though we have some more others, but we have the if condition, that's number one, or the if statement, this one. We have the if else statement, we have the if else statement, and we have the switch statement. So second condition, and then the third. So for the purpose of our lecture, we shall basically discuss the first two. I will take you through the first two expression, how to make the if statement and how to make the if else. This should be if else statement. Okay. So this is what we are going to discuss in our lecture. So for me, I'll take you through some steps on how to go about, and then the next video will be showing on how to implement such statements using R and R Studio. Now here is just the syntax for the first conditional statement, that is the if statement. This one, the first thing, or the last counter thing, the if statement. So the if statement, what it does, this is a Boolean expression, okay? So you simply type the if statement with some specific condition, okay? Then followed by a list of statements. It can be a single statement, it can be 2, 3, or 4, depending on what you are trying to execute or to implement in R. And then, as I've said, if the condition is true, then the statements will be executed, otherwise it will terminate. And this is the general syntax. So we start with the if condition. So you type if, and you can see this small case if, lowercase if, and then in brackets you express or you identify your expression, that okay, the condition to be executed, and the condition to be followed for the statement to be executed. So you specify the Boolean expression. You can use the equal sign, greater or equal, less than, less or equal. Okay, you can use greater than, greater or equal. You can use equal. You can use all ends. So depending on what you are trying to execute, these are some of the builds that can be used in the if expression. Now, after specifying the expression, what follows, we have the curly brackets. As you can see from right here, we have this curly bracket. This one means you open your conditional sentence, and then we specify some statements to be executed. So what's happened is, if this expression, the Boolean expression specified right here, is true, R executes all the statements which follows after the curly brackets. Okay? So you can type some statements here, shall I say later on when you're trying to implement. And then after writing the statements or expressing the statements which should be executed, we close the curly bracket. And sometimes for convenience we can indent this expression right here. Okay, you simply indent, and this curly bracket should align with the if condition. So this should align together. Okay, that is the way of trying to write the if condition. So there are three things to note, important things. First, if condition should be, the word if should be small case, that's number one. Number two, after typing the if condition in the brackets, you specify the Boolean expression, as you can see right here. And then you open the curly bracket. After opening the curly bracket, you move to the next line. So you should move to the next line. Okay? You move to the next line, and then you type some expression to be executed when the Boolean expression is true. And then after writing those statements, you close the curly brackets. That is how to write the if condition, the syntax for the if statement. Now here in the figure, just trying to illustrate how this works. So as you have seen from the previous slide, is that with the if condition, we start with the condition. Okay, you can see from here, we start with the condition right here. We start with the condition. Okay, right here we start with expressing the condition number one. Number two, what next is, we have some conditional statements right here. Okay, that's the other thing. So what's happened is, how it works. Now, if the condition is true, is expected to be true, then if condition, the statements written down here will be executed. Okay, and if this condition is false, then terminates. So this is the way how it works. So if the condition is true, then the statement will be executed, and then after the statement has been executed, it terminates. Okay. Or if the condition is false, means terminates automatically. The condition will not be executed. This is how if condition works. Okay. Yes. Now here, just an illustration. I'll just take you through this to see how it works. Okay. In, for instance, we are trying to implement the if statement in R. Now, for instance, we have this vector. It's called watoto, having some names here, names for children. They are children. Okay. It's a vector with names. The first is Daily, the second is Deborah, the third is Tito. These are children. Okay, three. They are three. Yes. So you have Daily, Deborah, and Tito. This is just a vector with names. Okay. So here we implement our if condition. Now what it says, let's go through the syntax and see how to write the if condition. Number one, we have said the first thing to when writing the if condition, we start with the word if, which is small case. You can see right here, if is small case. This is number one. Okay. Number two, after writing the if condition, you specify, the if statement, you specify the condition in the brackets. So this is the open and the close brackets. Now what it says, what's the condition? You say if the baller, you can see right, it's this one, the baller. If the baller, this is a character, is in watoto, meaning that if the baller is in a vector named watoto, that's the meaning. That if the baller is in a vector stored in R and named by the word watoto, so if the baller is in, this word means is in watoto. So you simply type percent, how to type this? This is percent, then the word in, and then percent. Okay? Meaning that if the baller is in, that's the meaning. Is in watoto, meaning that if the baller is in the vector called watoto, then you open your brackets, the curly brackets right here. Now these two are the statement to be printed then, if this statement is true. Okay? Number one says, print, this is my firstborn. So if this statement is true, that if the baller is in this vector, then the first statement to be printed that this is my firstborn. Number two, the statement that to be printed is she is 7 years, she is 7 years. So then after these statements, we have the last one here. It is the curly bracket, the closing bracket. So the first one and the second. So what Alex does, it tries to find out if the string variable, not string variable, string entry, the baller, is in a vector watoto. Now, if this is true, this statement will be printed. Now you can see in our vector watoto, the baller is right here. So this condition is true, that the baller is in this vector. So if the baller is in this vector, then this statement should be printed in R. And you can see that on the console, we have some words printed here. This is my firstborn, this statement here. The second, it says she is 7 years. Okay? So this is how if condition works. You simply type the if, you specify the condition, and then you give some statement to be printed when this condition is true. I hope it's clear. Then moving on. Then we have the if else statement. Okay. Now with the if condition means what you have said is, let's go back and see. Let's go back right here. That we have the condition, and this is and some statements right here. The statements are executed whenever the condition is true. So if the condition is false, then it's the next. Now in R, you may wish to have some to specify some other condition for it to be printed when the statement is false. Okay. That if this is true, then it is false. Now what I should do when the condition is false? So maybe you need to specify some other statement to be printed. So in such a situation, if else condition becomes use if. Okay? That if the statement can be printed by the else statement. Now the else part, the most important thing, the else part is optional and is only available if the text expression is false. This is what I was telling you. Okay? So if you don't specify the else statement, as you have seen from here, in this example, we are not having the else statement right here. So if this statement is false, means this will not be printed. It means R will just exclude without printing anything or by printing nothing. So if we need R to print something else, for us to know that the statement is false, we have to use the else statement. Okay, this is what it says, that the else part is optional and is only available if test expression is false. Okay, so what I think to note, it said you should note that the else part must be in the same line as the closing braces of the if statement. I'll show you down there. Okay, now let me show the conditional statement for the else. So this is the else statement, and here is the syntax. So as usual, as you have seen from the if statement, the first thing is to type your if function, you specify the expression, then you open your curly brackets, you specify some statement to be printed when the statement is true. This is printed when the if is true. When the if statement is true. Okay. Now, in the first function, the if statement, this is the closing bracket for the if statement. So now, if the statement is false, it's where now the else statement comes in. If false, what happened? We use the statement else. Okay, that's why from this sentence here, I can show you right here. It says else must be in the same line at the closing bracket of the if statement. Okay, this is the closing line of the if statement. So you start with the else statement. So else, you open the brackets and then you type some other statements. So what's happened is the first statement will be printed when this expression here is true. If it's false, this one will not be printed. Then Allah will come and print the second statement. I think it's clear. This is printed when if condition is true, and this is printed when the if condition is false. The first part is printed when the if statement is true. The else part is printed when the if test expression right here is false. That's what you have to keep in mind. This is just the flow diagram showing how the things works. Okay, let me show you the flow diagram. Now what's happened is we have as usual the condition right here, number one, if condition. So if the condition is true, then we have the test conditions and we have the if code is executed. We have the else code and then the terminates. Okay, so it tests the condition, it prints the code if it's true, and then it ends. Now, if the if condition is false, it goes straight away to the else code and then it terminates. This is the flow diagram for the if else statement. The flow diagram. Yes. Now, let me show you. Some codes right here. Okay, this is the if else statement. Now let's go together and see what's happening from this slide. So first, I've made some assignment right here. That age for the baller's age is 7 years, and Tito is 2. So these are age. So the baller is 7 years. My D. Yes, the baller is 7 years. Okay, Tito is 2 years. Okay, now these are just some assignments. Now what is the statement saying? It says if the baller's age is less than Tito's age. Okay, if the baller's age is less than Tito's age, now what should be printed? It says print the baller is younger than Tito. Else print Tito is younger than Deborah. Now what it says? It says if Deborah's age is less than Tito's age. Okay? So it tests if, in other words, it tests if 7 is less than 2. That is the thing that I is trying to test. So we're telling our test if 7 less than 2, then what should we print? Print Tito is younger than Tito. So Deborah is younger than Tito. Else, what is else meaning? If this condition is not true, then meaning if 7 is not less than 2, print Tito is younger than Deborah. As you can see, the excluded statement here says Tito is younger than Deborah, meaning that this condition is not true. Okay, that we know 7 is not less than how much? 7 is not less than 2. So this is false. If this is false, the first condition here will not be executed, this one, and the second will be executed. Okay, the else part. So Alamo, it won't execute if the statement and the if condition later to execute the statement and the else and the else part. So you can see Tito is younger than Deborah is executed. That is the condition and the else statement to imply that the condition is false. That's number 1. Example 2, right here. I have given an example on consumption that, for example, if a person daily consumption equal to 102,000 T shillings, for instance, let's consider this to be T shillings. That's the daily consumption. So we have just assigned daily consumption to be 1200. Now let's go to the if statement and try to see what's happening. It says if daily consumption is greater than 300, if this, in other words, is like saying if 1200, okay, is greater than 3,200, then what should be added? Print food secure. That if this condition here is true, okay, if this condition is true, then this statement should be printed food secure. Else, print food poor. Meaning, if this condition is not true or is false, it should print the else part right here. Okay. Now you can see I've just tried to write this in a single line, meaning that when you have just a single statement for execution, you can simply write your code in a single line. But if you have multiple lines, then there's no way you can write this in a single line. And you can see I haven't used the close and open brackets. Okay, the curly brackets, no curly brackets right here. Okay, you have just written our if condition, go to print and else condition. Fine, no curly brackets. Okay, so if exclude this, what says? You have the element it says daily consumption not found. Why not found? So you can see how this has been specified. There is an error in the word daily consumption. So I was trying to show you that R is case sensitive. First is case sensitive, and then you should like the words correct that we have been written specified. Okay. For instance, here it is written daily consumption, not consumption. P is missing right here. Okay. P is missing from the assignment. That's why I say daily consumption not found. So we need to rectify this to remove P. Okay. So you can see for the second statement, P is not here. Then our output says food poor, meaning that this statement here has been executed in the else part. If the else part has been executed, it implies that the test condition is false. In other words, 1200 is not less than sorry, it's not greater than 3,000. So this is the if-else condition, if-else statement, and how it works. Okay. We have some nested if statement that you may have some multiple sentences to be executed or to be printed in other. That if this is true, then print this. If false, print this. So we have the nested if. It is if else if. In other words, if else, if else, if. Okay. So you can see if test condition, else if test condition, else if test condition, then else. Okay. So if you have multiple conditions to be printed, we use the else if condition. So if you specify the test expression, you type the statement to be executed if this test expression is true. If false, you come to the next one. Else if you specify the expression. If false, you specify the expression. If false, you specify the expression. This is called the nested if else statement, or simply the if else if. Okay. This is the nested if. Now, how to implement this in R? Here the syntax for implementing the nested if in R. Now, let's go together and see how this works. So we have the mean score equal to 65, median score equal to 65. So the mean score, let's say for actual statistics scores. Okay, let's see how the nested if works. So as usual, we specify, we start with the if condition, if statement, and we specify the condition. It says, what the condition is saying, it says, if the mean score is less than the median score. In other words, if 65, sorry, right, correctly, that if 65, okay, is less than 65, that's what this statement says. If mean score is less than median score, then what should R do? Print the mean score is less than the median score. Print mean score is less than the median score. So you can see this statement is false. Okay? 65 is not less than 65, but this is false. Now, this is the first part. Okay? Number 2, now this statement here makes this one qualify to be the nested if. It says, if else, the mean score is greater than the median score. That if 65 is greater than 65. Now what should R do? It says, print mean score is greater than the median score. Now, is 65 greater than 65? Definitely no. So, even this statement will not be printed. Okay. Then else. So, what does else mean? It means if this is false, okay, that if this one is false, if this is false, and this is false, then do this. Okay. If this is false and this is false, then print this one. So you can see else print mean score equals median score. So you can see our final statement printed on the console is this one, meaning mean score equals median score. So the first is false, the second is false, but the last one is true. So here, this is the nested if statement. And this one, leaping right here, it makes this kind of expression to qualify to be a nested if else. So we have if, number 1, This is number 1. Okay. And this is number 2. If else, and this condition number 3. Okay. So thank you for being with me. This will just be step-by-step process in how to implement R. So implement a conditional statement in R. So the next video will be trying to illustrate to show how you can then implement all of this we have done using the R Studio and the R console. So thank you, and let's be together in the next session. Thank you.